Well, and I mean, isn't this, I guess you can trace it back to Marx and Marcuse and other thinkers on this, but it's this negation of any power structure. So the left looks at a power structure, modern Australia, and has to figure out a way to negate it, essentially. Isn't that what we're seeing here? And the Voice and Indigenous Affairs is the counterbalance that they use to do that.
Well, in the great sweep of things, yes, of course, you've had since the 1920s and the Frankfurt School and all the rest of it. Why are other Western countries not seeing the uprising of the working classes in Russia? It was never an uprising of the working classes anyway.
No.
But that was the Marxist model. The working classes should rise up. They seem to be they've been opiated. So we've got to attack the institutions that are keeping them in their place. You've had the march through the left through the institutions. It has been staggeringly successful. So, call it neo-Marxism, call it cultural Marxism, call it, identity politics, call it, if you like, critical theory, call it wokery, call it, frankly, deception. The common thing, in the case of the Voice, but the thing that's common here is that this is about power.
Yeah.
It's not about principle. And that's the ugly thing. And the fact that the Voice is to be put into the Constitution forever, if the objective was to close the gap, which we all want to see happen, why would you not assume that this thing should sunset when the gap's been closed and we've all come together as one? You have to say to yourself, activists will use this to keep us divided.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, we always hear about reconciliation, and this is a beautiful word, it's a wonderful idea, but the idea implies that there is some point where we are reconciled, and it seems to me that, like Marx's state, it would someday fade off into the sunset, and you'd never see it. But this seems to me like it would employ an awful lot of people who have a vested interest in keeping problems existing, so they've got something to solve. It's like a fire department without fires.
Look, from a rural point of view, farmers have not missed what happened in Western Australia. The activists climbed on board. And this is why I don't believe the Voice will work in the end. I believe that mainstream, decent Indigenous Australians will find that activists grab this and create a climate of distrust and of division and of dislike, if you like, particularly in regional areas and in the remote areas, which will come against Aboriginal people. I genuinely believe that is what will happen if we go down this road. The Voice, the whole Makarata, which basically means payback.
Yes, correct.
That's what it really means.
We spoke about this last night on the show.
Yeah. I mean, the people who know what it means. It's not a particularly friendly word. It doesn't accord with our idea of forgiveness, making up, reconciliation, moving on together.
Yeah, it's not having a beer after the game.
So that's right. And, and treaties. I mean, how do you do a treaty with yourself? And how do you negotiate a treaty? I mean, this is the problem the states are finding, isn't it? There were 600 nations. Aboriginality is a race, not a nation. And that's not a critical thing to say. I mean, the Aboriginal people, and many of the ones that I've met, they're very proud of their own small local nation. But they're very widespread. Look at a map of Australia.